Hey guys, we're here today in Valheim, and I have been covering the game for I think 5 months now. And when the game came out, the most popular building style was the Longhouse. It is the most popular Viking building style there is. Well, I wanted to be different and unique a little bit, so I built the Viking Pit House and the Viking Stave Church. And here we are 5 months later, and I realized I still have not done a Longhouse. So here I am today, giving you a Longhouse build. Another factor for why I wanted to do a Longhouse is I found this really cool spot with a little patch of meadows between a swamp, black forest, and a plains biome. And you can see here, it's a pretty cool looking spot, albeit a little dangerous. Due to the fact that we are building halfway in the plains and right next to some Deskitos, we will be doing an interesting thing with the garden and the workshop by having our garden kind of an indoor-outdoor thing with a window, and by having one half of it in the meadows and one half in the plains. It is not a huge garden section, but it should be pretty effective. And then our workshop will be mostly entirely indoors, but not having the smelter and the blast furnace and the kiln taking up a giant amount of space inside your house. You can also see that we have a full 17 comfort, a fully working workbench and forge, and what I feel like is plenty of room. So if this is a solo build, you have a lot of room to expand in here and put whatever you'd like. And if it is for a group, you have a lot more room for more beds. And you can also fit a lot more in the way of like fermenters or chests, which I do not have a lot at the moment. Also, even though this is a build that I am doing partly in the plains, this can be built anywhere. So do with it what you will. This build is going to cost approximately 800 wood, and that does not include any of the workbenches, upgrades, comfort items, or workshop items. So I have already terraformed this area just a little bit. I am not going for perfectly flat. We're going to move with the terrain just a little bit, but I wanted to get rid of some of the bigger bumps and hills to eliminate some of the annoyance while building this. We're going to start out by picking kind of our back corner of the building, and I don't want to be all the way up against the water. I want to be a little bit off of it. And then we are going to go ahead and line it out 7 by 12 with 2-meter wood beams, which comes out to 14 meters by 24. And then we're going to pick on one of the long sides of the building where we want our entrance to be. And you're going to go on the 6th and the 7th 2-meter wood beam and delete those out of the way. Then we're going to extend wood beams off 2 clicks of each one, and that will be marked out for our entrance. And then we're going to floor the entire building except for a 2-meter section on both ends of the building. That is going to be our garden area. And you can see here that because I did not terraform much at all, that we have all the plant life sticking through the floor. If that is going to bother you, then I recommend using a hoe and flattening the ground before you proceed. So you can see here we have it floored, and I left a 2-meter strip on each side of the building. Along both of those strips, we're going to run 1-meter half walls. And then along the rest of the building, excluding where the door is going to go, we're going to run regular full walls. Now we can place the doors. If you do regular wooden doors, you're going to have double doors here. And if you do regular doors, you're going to be a beam in the middle, which I don't really care for. And if we do gates, they're going to be a little bit too high. So what we're going to do is aim it to where the gate sinks into the ground a little bit and evens itself out with the walls, and then you'll just have sections of the gate opening underground, which is not a problem for me. But then your double doors don't have a beam in the middle and operate a little bit better. We are then going to roof the entire section. If you like the look of the wood beams running between each roof slat, I recommend using the 45-degree angle wood beams to make a skeleton of your roof first, or an outline of it, and then doing the thatch roof pieces. For this, I'm just going to do the roof pieces because it's a little hard to get the snap positions that way, and that way you can see it done the difficult way. We're going to start with 45-degree inside roof corners at the front corner where the door is going to be, and we can match those two up together. You see where it makes a peak there. There will be 45-degree pieces going over the door and the little entrance walkway, and then we're going to run 45-degree pieces down both edges, front and back, and we are not doing outside corner pieces over here, so you'll run the 45-degree all the way to the edge, meeting up with your 1-meter half wall. You're going to do 45-degree roofing up 2 rows high. Before I continue and forget, we are going to use 45-degree angled wall pieces to cover right above the door. And then we are going to continue the roofing with 26-degree pieces off of this. And you can see our two frames where the door is going to go. We're going to go 2 meters outside of that on either side. And we are going to add a 1-meter pole so that you have an 8-meter opening section. And we're going to roof around that section on both the front and the back of the building. It can be definitely difficult to place roofing up above your head like this. I'm not having a whole lot of problems at the moment, but you might want to throw some ladders in the roof on the 45-degree or something to climb up until you can get to the 26, and then you'll be able to stand up there to do all this roofing from above. We are going to finish off the sections where we have 26-degree with 26-degree peak pieces. And then, like I was saying, you can climb up on the building. We are going to be elevating this section up, so we're going to add 2-meter wood beams along our little 1-meter sections we did. And we're going to be creating a little pop-out for our chimney and fireplace. Now, it's important to note that this does not actually help at all with the smoke, and this is just for the visuals. So if you do not care about that at all, then you can go ahead and just skip this whole section. But after we get that little section done with the wood beams, we're going to add 26-degree roofing to those beams and finish up just like we did on the two sides with 26-degree roofing and then a peak piece. And now we have just a slightly elevated hatch like that, and I am going to decorate it with 26-degree angles on the sides with an X cross on the front and back. Now, I don't think any longhouse looks quite good without having 45-degree angled pieces coming off the edges and spiking into the ground. And you can run that at every seam, and this looks way better if you are deciding to run 45-degree pieces all the way up between each seam. But all of this right here is visual and not structural at all, so you can decide to go with that if you would like. If you're looking just to get it done and have it work and be effective, then you don't really need these, but I do think that they look really good. Now we are going to wall in the section above our 1-meter half walls on the side. You can either run 2-meter beams across the entire thing to give yourself base to mount walls to, because we want to leave this gap, or you can go to the edge and mount your angled pieces first, and then just mount walls above that, and leave that floating gap there manually. And you're going to do that to both sides. Now we can go ahead and set up for this small garden area here. I'm just going to run 45-degree crosses as kind of a lattice wall around the entire edge. And I recommend having at least one of those sections be a door. You can do it on both sides if you prefer to have more entrances and exits, but I would at least have one that you can access and get in here with in case you want to come from the exterior and have one go onto the interior. The very side of them on the 2-meter is going to be just a single lattice wall, but the front panel is going to be a full thing. So we need to run our same roofing pattern and design with angled beams. That way we know exactly how high we need to take our lattice wall. Going to be pretty much 45-degree pieces all the way up, except for the final one in the center. That is going to have to be a 26-degree because our slope changes. And this one is evidently somewhat tough to place. There we go. So you'll notice we got these nice little diamonds in each section, except for some spots along the edges where we have larger openings. You can take a 45-degree single beam, and when you try to place it there, it will sit and halfway clip into the X below it, to where it doesn't poke out the sides at all, and it gives you that same design. And you will also do this on both sides. Now you can cultivate this little 2-meter strip and set it up for gardening. You can walk out here from inside or outside and plant stuff. Through the little window, you are also able to plant stuff through the wall if you prefer to do it that way, and you're able to check on your garden from inside. Now the 1-meter opening gap is a pretty big deal because it does not allow mosquitoes to get in. So if you are building this near the plains or in the plains, this allows you to have a garden, check on it, and tend to it somewhat from the inside without mosquitoes coming into your house, which can come in handy. If you are not building in the plains and you're just doing this in the meadows or something, then you don't really need this garden system at all unless you like the look of it and the design in general. Now we're going to set up the workshop. In order to do this, on the back wall, we're going to go 3 panels in from each edge and break that one wall. I'm also going to break out the 2-meter beam on the floor. That'll allow me to walk in and out while I'm setting stuff up and be able to aim a little more accurately. We're going to place a smelter on our left side from the door and a blast furnace on our right. We want to place them where the spout comes right inside the house, and we block as much of the doorway as we can. It's important that the smelter goes on your left and blast furnace on your right so that the holes for the intake on coal are all in the correct spots. From there, we're going to bust out the 4 walls between them, along with the 4 wood beams. And then we are going to floor that section, and we are going to floor it 2 panels out. Once you have that section done, we are going to place a kiln, and you might need to raise the ground up. Like you see here, I don't have enough space out there. So you can place it a little better if you're near the water, or you're going to have to terraform just a bit. And if you're not near the water, this will not be nearly as much hassle. But you're going to place the spout for the kiln directly in the center of your 2 middle floor tiles, and place it as close to the floor as you can. And then we're going to do half walls on both the blast furnace and the smelter side, so we can still access their intake spouts. You can do full walls beside the kiln, and then we're not going to do any walls in front of it because you can see here that it's going to block the spout a little bit. Now, one alternative to this, and it may even work better for you, is destroy those 2 floor panels and place your kiln actually more in your building, and then put the floor panels back under it. Yeah, that comes in way more, and then we can actually place walls in the kiln itself to eliminate any slight openings in the building. We will have to destroy the roof panel next to the smelter and the blast furnace, and put inside corner pieces. Now, obviously, a lot of this whole workshop area is better to do if you do it out the gate and know how it's going to go. Unfortunately, due to the layout and design of having to put it through a wall panel to get the spouts in, I kind of had to do it after on this particular build so I could get a better idea of exactly where they needed to go as I show you. We're then going to take 26-degree roof panels and connect our 2 inside corners. And then we're going to do 45s and 26s up to a peak on both sides. You'll close in the slight gap above your current roof with 26-degree wood walls, and then close in the section over your kiln. And now you have your little workshop done with some slight windows in it. You can access the kiln, and the coal will dump out right here, along with having the intakes for coal and both the intakes for the blast furnace right here. The intake for the ore on the smelter, you can just bust out that wall and place a half wall, and you can aim at it and access it from in the house without too much issue or problem. And now it is time for decoration. We are on a 7-tile grid, so if you go to the 4th tile and go about even with your doorway, that is where I recommend placing the hearth, directly under that. And like I said before, the little pop-up we have up there is actually just for design. It does not help the smoke at all. The building itself is tall enough to deal with the smoke and not give you any issues. Your brazier can really hang up anywhere a little higher. The smoke's going to vent out the same and not be an issue. And then I would decorate your comfort items however you would like. I'm a big believer in staying compact, so I'm going to place all of mine near the center to where it reaches as far as it can and does not take up much room at all. And I would leave the wide sides of the hearth on both sides open. That way we can run a cauldron and a cooking station without any issues or problems. And I like to set my workbench and my forge up near the door. On each corner, I feel like it fits the best, and there's a ton of room for all the add-ons and upgrades, and you can kind of clutter your entrance a little bit because a double wide opening should be plenty, and having tool racks on the side won't be any issue. Now, I've got every upgrade in here, but I did have to set something like the anvils in the walkway, if that bothers you. There's plenty of room to set them outside, just along the edge of the house. They won't decay in the rain at all, and it does not matter what you have outside. If this building gets attacked by enemies, it's going to get destroyed anyway. So you'll have to design this with a wall around it on the exterior, protecting your overall base no matter what, and the upgrades being out there will not be a factor. The house also has plenty of room for fermenters. It's got the room for spinning wheels and most of every other crafting station that you will need. Got a lot of access and room for chests around the workshop area. Pretty much the only things that are not in here currently is the windmill and your beehives, which have to go outside anyway. Last things there is to do is go through the area and kind of pretty things up. You can see the edge of this 1 meter wall here next to the smelter. Doesn't look very good, so I'm gonna add beams to it and add it to the corner. And I'm gonna go through the roof and add the 45-degree angled wood pieces and the spikes into the ground that I feel like the longhouse should have. Well, there you guys go. That is my take on a Viking Longhouse. Hopefully it was helpful to you and can be useful to you in your travels through Valheim. Let me know in the comments if you come across any more real-life Viking buildings that you would like to see built in the game. And if you're interested in talking about Valheim just a little bit, or you're interested in sending me some more video ideas or suggestions, then feel free to join my Discord in the description. Thanks for watching. I will see you next time.